Hey team, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to go over my layout and what I prefer to use for indicators when trading throughout the pre-market session and the regular market session as well. So up I have cost, KOSS. This is a hot one that was moving last week. And we've got a 4-square layout. That's what I call this layout here. It's just really typical 4 squares of 4 different charts and time frames. We've got the 1-minute chart, 5-minute, 10-minute, and the daily chart, all different time frames up. That way I can refer to the wider time frames as I'm looking at the smaller time frame for my entry and exit. Now, typically I'm trading on the 1-minute chart, so I can blow this up by holding Alt and then hitting Enter, and that'll blow up any one of these. So Alt Enter, Alt Enter. So you can do this to any time frame that you have here and blow it up if you want to. So typically we're going to stick to the 1-minute chart for entry and exit. And I do have a number of indicators that are on this layout here. And if you see on these other layouts, I only have one indicator each for now. And I may build onto that, but for now I just have the one indicator for each. This is going to be my 1-minute daily pivot pro here, which I could actually get rid of that because I have a daily one that I'm adding to this now. And this is our new line of indicators that are really, really cool because we're using backtested data to add these results and add the possible future prediction type of price action here. But we've got a 10-minute bullish pivot pro, we've got a 5-minute bullish pivot pro, and we have a 1-minute bullish pivot pro. We are coming up with a daily 4-hour 15-minute 10-minute. We've got them all based on the time frames, as we do look at each time frame as a whole different bunch of problems there. So we're looking to solve those problems each time frame at a time. So 1-minute chart, top left. Let's go over how to set this up. So I'll start from scratch. So hit the plus sign at the top. It's going to give you some options up here. Hit create new layout. This looks new, by the way. This must be a new look that TradingView is going for. So hitting a new layout here, pretty basic stuff, right? We've got a single chart up, KOSS, 1-minute chart. It's good. We've got volume at the bottom. If I hit this down arrow here, we're going to see that we've got volume. I'm going to take that off for now. I don't need the volume on there, and I'll show you why in a minute. So we want to add some indicators to this chart. It's basic, red and green candles. I've got my chart black, and you can see the pre-market's going to be here in the gray and aftermarket's in the blue. You can change that if you prefer. You can just go into the settings up here and go to your canvas, and you can change the color that you have the background of your chart, or maybe you want to change the pre-market and aftermarket. You can find that somewhere in here. Let's see. There it is. Pre-market, post-market background. So if you want to change that, you can do that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is for now. This is how I have my chart typically. I do have the watermark in the back so you guys can see this, but you don't have to have this. It's up to you. It will always tell you the ticker up top left. So anyway, we're going to add some indicators here. So my favorite indicators to use are going to be in our invite only tab. And for premium indicators members, you guys have access to this full library of indicators. And I'm going to add on my favorite, of course, is going to be the confirmation, support, and resistance. That's number 1. So I'll go ahead and right here, Bullish Bob, confirmation, strategy, support, and resistance. Click on that. Should add it to the chart. Okay, it did. Now I'm going to go ahead and add the next one, minor and smaller. I want to have all 3 on my chart. Some traders prefer to only have 2. Some traders prefer to have 1. We do have them broken up. But I'll put all 3 of those on the chart. We'll start with that. Reset the chart. And now I can zoom in, and there we can now see that it automatically plots the resistance levels for us as well as support. So what we're looking for the confirmation, of course, is to close over each one of these levels. We're assessing these gaps and saying, you know what, this gap right here is a lot wider than this gap. Maybe this is the gap I want to be trading, depending on my strategy. But of course, we've already filled a lot of these gaps here, and you'll see that. This is showing us the price. This is also showing us the percentage from the current price to that price. So it gives us a quick indication of, okay, if I'm getting in here and I'm looking for 1650 as my target, I know I'm looking around 30% on this trade. 30% of, X amount of shares is, yada, yada, right? You can then really quickly do the math on this and assess, is this a probable or high quality trade for you or not? And where are you going to be holding it for? And these are going to be predetermined resistance levels. Now you can see we have different colored lines. We've got the purple, we've got the white, and we've got the red, and that's going to be the different indicators that we have here. And we have them color coded, as well as you'll see on the side we do have a difference in if right now market's closed, so you won't see it, but when you zoom in and out, this number here will change and move in and out at times. But you can change that in the settings. So you can go into the settings and change that, but that's not the scope of this video. We're just going to go over my layout. So, all right, we've got that on there. Before I get too far ahead of myself, let's change the layout to a 4-square layout. Let's click on this here. And for me, I'm going to select the 4-square layout. And if you have the premium trading view, you can do that. If you don't, you may not have that option. So it really depends if you have the option or not. I'm not sure what the free account gives. I think only a chart or two maybe. But if you have a paid account, you should be able to do this. I'm going to delete the, support and resistance off of this other chart because I'm not really concerned with it on other charts. I only need it on the one, so I don't need to see it in every single chart that we have here. Another thing that I'll do is click on the layout here and make sure that the symbol is in sync. And that means if I type a different symbol here, it will, all of the charts will change. So you don't need to have that. If you prefer to not have that, you don't have to have that set. It's up to you. But for this layout that I use, I will be keeping the ticker in sync. Now, all right, let's go back to the 1 minute. So Alt Enter to blow it up. We'll focus on this one for now. These are the indicators we have up. All right, let's get some more on here. I like the one of my favorites, of course, is going to be the BB Volume Hunter. So this one right here is going to depict if we have volume or not. So watch when it adds, you'll see the color of the candles probably change here, which they did not. And there's a reason for that. There we go. And you can see the change in colors now of these candles if I click on that indicator. Now, the problem with this, guys, is that if you don't have this indicator layered on top, which I'll show you how to do in just a second. If you don't have it layered on top, it's basically being hidden behind the other indicators, which is really weird. I'm not sure why TradingView does this, but if you go to the indicator and you click the 3 dots next to it, right? And then hit visual order and go to bring to front and then click off anywhere on the chart, you can see now that we have the candles being changed. We also have these alerts saying that's a bullish vertical trend. This is white candles, that's high volume. Yellow candles is low volume, but still the volume that we're looking for, right? And these major red pullbacks are going to be our major red candles, the pink candles there, or magenta, whatever you want to call it. So it's giving us some signals on the chart here, and that's what I love to have on this. But make sure, again, click on the 3 dots and visual order bring to front. Now, let's add the 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro. Right here is the 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro. And this one is for Tesla. This one is for just all stocks, low float stocks. So let's click on that and add it to our chart. And it's adding now. And I'll show you a couple tips to this indicator. So now you can see that we now have added a flow zone. So we've got that flow zone to depict if this is going to be bullish or bearish. If it's red, of course, it's bearish. If it's green, it's going to be bullish or blue. We've got the volume, so we can see that. We know this is a bullish vertical trend. That's a red flag to our strategy. Okay, we're expecting a choppy pullback, and that's exactly what we had. Okay, great. These numbers alongside of this and the numbers on the side, they're kind of annoying to me. So to get rid of those, we'll double-click on this indicator. Let's go to the style and go all the way down to the bottom. And for me, guys, I'm selecting labels on price scale off, and that's going to be over here on the right. So you can see these labels will disappear. Well, there they go. And values in the status line. That's going to be these numbers next to it. I'm going to turn that off as well. So if any of these numbers or values are, becoming annoying, just go into the style and turn them off. And then you can actually save that if you prefer, but just hit OK, and there you go. So now we've got the 1 minute Bullish Pivot Pro, and it is showing up here. Now I want to add one more. Let's go to the Invite Only tab. Go all the way to the bottom, and we've got the let's see, the Dynamic Price Signals version 3. Love, love, love this indicator. It's like a checklist for confirmation. So it lets me know if it's confirmation or not. So you can see once I add that on there, okay, we've got some more stuff going on. And I'll explain all of that in just a second. But first, I want to make sure that visual order is correct. So as I grab the chart and move it around, you can see that this checklist here, this label is getting hidden behind these lines, right? That's kind of annoying. So what I'll do is go to the Dynamic Price Signals and click those 3 little dots again, visual order, and bring to front. Click off, and there we go. And as long as you can still see your volume candles changing color and your bullish vertical trends, then you're good to go, right? And now you can see that this line is now hidden behind that. So I prefer to have that way. Now, For me, guys, if I go into this, I double click on the indicator, and you can double click on any one of these indicators to open it up and go to the inputs and start changing things around. Or you can, of course, double click over here, or even go into the settings, I believe right here, the settings. So double click on that, open up the indicator settings, extension to the right. So this is going to be this zone that we see here. We can change that. But again, we won't go too deep into this because this is a whole nother video. We do have tutorial videos on this, but you can change that if you prefer. For me, on this one, what I'm going to do actually, guys, is I'm going to hit 0. So I don't want any extension. I don't want to see this pivot zone. Ready? And it disappeared. I do want to see the signals. We still get the signals here letting us know that it's extended. So I do get the signals. You can change the signal there. But I do get the signals still, but I want to take off that pivot zone. I'll show you why in just a second. So that's it for dynamic price signals. The keynotes right here. So if the keynotes is something that you want to see, you can blow this up. So note size label, let's make this huge so you guys out there can see this as well. All right. Keynotes, recent resistance spotted, expect choppy price action, reduce size, tighten stop, lotto size or avoid. So these are going to be keynotes and quick hints for those of you who are still new to the strategy. If you're like myself, you've been trading the strategy for a while, confirmation, then you know all of this. So this isn't as important to have up on the screen. So you can turn this off, right? So you can go in here and turn off those keynotes. So I like to do that, and they're off. Now, another thing is I like to move this label up top, this checklist. I like to move this to the left-hand side. So we can do that by taking the label position and moving it to the bottom left. Now, what you'll notice is it disappears, and this is a glitch in the code that we're going to work on this week, guys. We'll get this fixed up. But for now, if you're watching this video, the solution here is to change the notes label. So change the notes label position to top right, so you're swapping the sides, and all of a sudden, you see this label pop up on the left, and that's going to be our label position. So a little funky there in the code. We'll get that fixed up. Don't worry about it. But for now, I turn off the keynotes. If you want to keep those on there, you can move them around. But if they're stacked on each other, for whatever reason, it just doesn't show. All right, so we're good there. You can change the label size as well if you prefer to have it normal size. Well, for this example, I'll keep it large. I typically have it normal size or smaller. All right, so we've got our checklist. Now, this is going to give us some quick information, right? The symbol. Is it continuation watch, or is it does it have recent bags, right? Is it a bounce watch? So if it's continuation watch like this one, then we're looking for possible continuation. But of course, it's going to list out the major resistance as well, which is going to be 1873. So even though the price is, where is the price right now? 1226. Even though the price is at 1226 and this says it's continuation watch, well, it's continuation if it closes over the closest level to this major resistance. So that's 1873. We go up here, we can see that the closest resistance is 1873 right there. So of course we need to close over that level and over these levels here to start seeing continuation. Until then, anything below that is going to be a bounce watch, right? These are going to be resistance levels that have already been tested. The gaps have already been filled. So that's going to give you some information there. So I like to have it like that myself. Now the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, let's go ahead and I think that's good the way it is actually. Let's just leave it like that. Well, you know what? I think I want to have this stacked on top as well. So I think we'll have this stacked on top of these candles instead. So let me go ahead and do that. So we'll go to the settings, visual order, bring to front. Okay. Now the only issue is I see if I pull this up, you can see that it starts to stack over that dynamic again. So play around with the settings here. I'm going to take the dynamic. I'm going to stack this back on top. So bring it to the front. There we go. It's back on top now. So it covers over and I'm good to go. Now that's it for the 1 minute chart. It's confirmation, support, and resistance, the BB volume hunter, the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, and the dynamic price signals version 3. That's it. That's what I like to have on my 1 minute chart. Now, it's really simple, right? The 1 minute bullish pivot pro is going to let me know where these signals are. And again, the reason why, I haven't gone over this yet, but the reason why we removed the price signals here, why I put this to 0 on the extension, right? We got rid of that, is because if you double click on this other indicator that we have, this 1 minute bullish pivot pro, we have it built into this as well. So the extension zone, we can see extreme pivot zone options. Do you want to turn that on? Yes, we do. And let's go ahead and turn on the flow zone chart signals as well. I want to see those. So we'll start to see some other signals in the chart. Now zoom on out. Okay, we've got these little purple X's now. And we now have a pivot zone here at the top. And to just show you an example, I'll turn that back off for a second so you guys can see. Turn off the extreme zone. This will disappear. There it goes. And turn on extreme zones. So to leave that on, we can now have that zone. So that's going to give me a little extra idea for resistance as well as a possible entry. So if we see a resistance zone and we close above, well, it gives me a very clear indication that above this zone is bullish, below this zone is bearish. Where should I have my stop loss? Well, it should be right here. So there's no guesswork there, which I really love. So that's it for the 1 minute chart. One thing that you guys might want to do as well is adjust the size of these alerts. So you can see our buys, break of structure, fail of support right there. If you want to make these bigger, you can do that. So go to this indicator, double click on the PW alert, which is pivot watch. Go ahead and click on that, double click on it. And the signal size here, let's go to large, and we'll turn this to large as well. I'll hit OK. And we should see these get bigger. There we go. So really easily, we can now see this is our pivot signal, this is our bearish signal, and now we have good indication of where to get in, where to get out. So when this stock first started moving over here, this was on cost in the pre-market session. This is a really good example here. We closed above the pivot zone. We had a pivot watch signal. We closed above the pivot zone. This is our zone to stay above. This is where we can buy into if it starts to dip to. Hold. And we're looking for it to continue and put our stop just below. Well, this thing just blew up, right? And that's great to see. And then we see a resistance zone plotted up here. We can close above it. Okay. We need to get above that. Here's another break of structure. Here's a fail of that structure. This is our exit signal. As we come back down, we see another signal here, pivot zone alert. So we have these alerts now being plotted for you. And so it's giving you clear indication where you should possibly get in for a possible scalp or a reversal, and where you should be getting out in case it doesn't hold that support. So it's very clear indication. So if I go to let's see, Zap was another one moving, I believe. Yeah, Zap was moving. So Zap, same thing. I'll zoom out to the pre-market. It looks like a mess here because, again, it's all congested together. But you can see on Zap, this is where the pre-market started. Got a pop, pulled back, closed above this pivot zone. This is where we say it's bullish. We had another pivot zone resistance, closed above there again, bullish, right? So very clear indication of where to get in, where to get out. Here's a resistance zone. Okay, we don't get in until it closed above, continue, close below the key level. And now we can see we dip back down here. Here's another buy signal, another bounce. So we're getting these buy signals now in here, which is going to be a break of structure, which is bullish. And this is going to be a failed support, which is bearish, of course. So that's our 1 minute chart. I've got the support and resistance. So if I'm looking at this for a trade, now, of course, I can quickly reference this and say, you know what? The flow zone is red, so it's bearish. This is going to have the correct float size. Okay, this is on watch for continuation, but recent highs are showing around 5.2, 520. So that's all the way up here at 520. So really, until it closes over 525, this is not going to be confirmation or bullish momentum. But if we close over 525 and we've got a green flow zone going on here, or a blue flow zone, then that's something I want to take part in, right? And if I am in this position over 525, then anything below that is bearish. And again, very clear indication. This is where I'm getting in. This is where I'm taking profit. This is where I'm getting in. This is where I'm taking profit. I may sit out of this because it looks a little choppy. Close above this. This is where I'm taking profit, right? Very clear indication. Of course, we have other signals too. If we see a pivot zone, maybe I'm securing profit just to be safe. Now, hold Alt, Enter, and now we're back to our 4-square layout. This is going to be my 5-minute chart on the right-hand side. And we'll go to our indicators. Let's blow this up, 5-minute chart. Only indicator that I'll add here is the 5-minute Bullish Pivot Pro. There it is, 5M Bullish Pivot Pro. Click on that, add it to your chart. It should add here. And we now have it added to the chart. And there you go. That's all you have to do. So I don't need the volume indicator here because I'm not really watching the 5-minute chart for anything other than trend and some of these alerts here. And as you can see, Zap on a 5-minute chart, we got that alert right here saying, hey, you know what? This is a pivot watch alert. You can blow those up if you want to. Just open it back up. Hit large, large, hit OK. You should blow up. There you go. Easy to see now, right? So clear indication. If I'm getting in here, well, this is where my stop should be, even if it's mental. So sure, I can get in. This is a clear plan here, a clear strategy, right? And if you notice, if you click on the chart anywhere, you'll see that this tag is now behind that candle. That's kind of frustrating. So let's go up here and go to the settings, click the 3 dots, visual order, bring to front. There we go. Now we don't have that issue anymore. It stays on top. Another thing, these values up here, again, don't care to see them. And you could always turn these off. Turn that off just like that and hit OK. And there we go. Now they're out of the way and they're not on the side anymore either. So clear indication where to get in, where to get out. If it can't hold a level, well, we can't hold on to it until we get ourselves another pivot alert. There's our pivot alert there. Pull back. We got a little green signal here. That's our flow zone alert. And then all of a sudden we got a pivot zone here. So one to watch. And if we fail below this pivot zone, that's where I'd be exiting my position. And it can always get in if we're holding that pivot zone. Now, that's our 5-minute chart. That's the only indicator that I'll have on the 5-minute chart. Let's Alt-Enter. Go to the bottom left. I'm going to go to a 10-minute chart. Alt-Enter to blow it up. Reset the chart by right-clicking and hit Reset. And I do have a 10-minute Bullish Pivot Pro as well. Here it is right at the top. 10M Bullish Pivot Pro. Let's add this one. And not the one that says Tesla, of course, because that is dedicated for Tesla. We will have others for SPY. We have a few in here for SPY specifically as well. And we're adding more for these as well. We're very, very excited about this line, actually. So 10-minute Bullish Pivot Pro. Going to add this to the chart. Again, I'm going to go into the 3 dots, visual order, bring to front, double click on it, go down to the style, go to the bottom, labels, and values. Man, if I could talk in the status line. Let's get rid of that. All right. Now, all right, we've got that off the chart. I'm not seeing any signals on this one. As of now, we are going to be updating this code, so you may see more signals in the future. But for now, I didn't see any signals on a 10-minute chart. So we'll see if that changes going forward. Now, we've changed this. We've got this off. Let's go to the inputs and make these labels large because they're kind of hard to see like that. And if I'm trading by myself, it's okay. But if I'm doing a demonstration like this, then I want to show this. And just a quick example, guys. Of course, again, this is outside the scope of this video, but just a quick example. Although this is a pivot watch alert, there's no buy signal. There's no break of structure, right? There's no bullish signal there. So it's just giving us a heads up because that's what we like to do. We like to alert before our buy signals appear. That way you can really be prepared. So you know when to start watching, right? Give you a little bit of time to get prepared and understand if it's going to be your best setup or strategy or whatever. So reset this, and that's our 10-minute. I think we're good there. Okay. Now on the last chart here, Alt-Enter again. We're going to change this to the daily time frame. So 1 day. Hit right-click and reset. Zoom in. And right now we don't have this. At the time of making this video, we don't have the daily Bullish Pivot Pro. But guys, this will be out in the next week. So you're going to have this available, and I'm excited to have that because when I have the Bullish the Pivot Pro for the daily, we will be adding that to this mix. So right now I just referenced the daily looking at what we're seeing here. Now I could add something like this. I could come in here and we could go into our indicators. We could add like the key level spotter, right? A lot of people like that one. Let me see the key level spotter here. Bullish Bob key level spotter. And we're going to rename these to make it easier to find these two guys. So we'll be doing that. But key level spotter, adding this to my chart. You can see it should be adding anytime now. There we go. This one is going to be a little bit different because this one's going to be giving us these key levels. So as you can see, if you double click on this, we've got a number of key levels that will be added here, and you can add lines as well. So if you want to see the lines added, so maybe you want to see each one of these lines instead of just the price label, you can do that. So whatever you prefer, however you prefer, you can do that. So you can enter each one of these buy zones, bounce watch levels, as well as overbought levels, and maybe I'll give you a good indication of where to get in, where to get out, things like that. So there's a lot of things you can add on in this indicator. This is a very extensive indicator here with a lot of alerts. But what you can see here is it's now giving us some lines and levels, just like our other chart. But this is a totally different set of lines and levels. This is going to be our other things to watch, right? EMAs, important EMAs, VWAP, price target, profit targets, things like that. So VWAP here is going to be 421 on this, and we're going to see that the 4-hour 200 EMA is sitting right there at 413. So just to verify that, if I go in here, let's find the daily EMA. Here it is, 200-day EMA, way up here is $17. That's why we couldn't find it. All right, so if I go to the indicators and I go down to, if I just type in EMA. And we go to just the normal exponential moving average. Where is it? Right here, moving average exponential. Add that to your chart. So we're looking for the 200-day EMA. So let's go ahead to the, let's change the number here to length to 200. And we'll hit OK. And we should see this line, same level as this. Let's see. Bingo. All right, cool. So again, what this is doing is just adding a clear indication line level with the price right next to it. So you guys can really easily see that this is how far it is from that level. So we're looking at this, even though we're down here at 520, some may be saying, you know, it's going to hit that 200-day EMA, and that's my target. Well, this is where they're getting that target for. So if it's above that price, of course, it's going to be in green. If it's below that price, it's going to be in red. Red as resistance, green as support, right? So right now it's above the 1 minute 200 EMA. And so the 1 minute 200 EMA is 376 below the current price. So maybe we'll get a little bounce off that. So you can keep that there. Now, it's up to you whether you want to have the lines, levels on there. You can adjust the settings, just see in the user inputs there to adjust the settings. And that's pretty much it, guys. That is the layout that I really love to have going myself. Now, I'll typically minimize these to get them off the screen. This, again, if you're looking at Foursquare layout, it's a little big, right? It's a little large. So you can go in here and you can turn this down to normal and hit OK. You can shrink it down a little bit. And this, for me, is really good. So now I can easily say, you know, IVP hits the scanners. I can easily assess and say, okay, we're right near resistance. Maybe if we get over this resistance, it's worth watching. But hang on, maybe on the 5 minute, I'm seeing something. Maybe the flow zone is a little off, or maybe I've got a resistance zone on IVP on this one here. Now, one thing you can do as well is turn on the extreme zones on these other time frames. And look at that. See, now we have a pivot zone right there. So let's go ahead and do this on the 5 minute as well. So double click on that. Make sure that the extreme zones are on if you're just going to have that one indicator. And there we go. We've got a pivot zone. So same thing. If we can get above these pivot zones, it's bullish. Below the pivot zone, it is bearish. These are going to be major resistance areas. So if we're seeing that on a 5 minute chart, you're seeing it maybe on a 1 minute chart, and you're seeing it on a 10 minute chart. Again, it's going to add conviction to your strategy there and let you know that this is very high risk, right? This is a lot of risk associated with this because you've got resistance on a 5 minute chart. You've got it on a 10 minute chart and a 1 minute chart, right? And sometimes even the daily. Soon we'll have the daily out, guys. We're going to have this out this week, and this will be a big deal. And you don't have to have the lines on there. Again, if you don't want to have the lines on there, you can just turn off each one of these lines. We've got a lot of options available on the key level spotter. So definitely utilize that to your advantage. And if you guys have any input, questions, or you know, suggestions on how you think that these should be should look or go, then let us know. You know, if we like the idea, we'll change it up a little bit, and we'll make sure that it's very easy to follow and everyone can understand completely what's going on there. So you can see now, if I double click, or excuse me, Alt Enter on this, you can see now that we're getting those buy signals still over here, and we're still getting the levels, but we're just not getting the lines anymore. And the reason that these are, you know, congested together is because they're about the same. They're off by a penny. So if you had it like this, you could see it a little bit easier. Same with down here. You can adjust these closer. Some of these are a little far away. So if they're too far away, double click on it. EMA, okay. To the right, we want to have this going to the right. Let's see, 5. And there we go. See it adjusted over. And hit okay. And there we go. And so you can adjust these even closer if you need to. So that is my layout, guys. That is pretty much it. I don't need the EMA in here because I have the key level spotter. I need to shrink this so it gets out of my way. Reset the chart. Zoom in. You guys can see eventually you'll get pretty quick with this, and it's pretty simple. But if you're new to this, then it's going to be kind of like gibberish, right? But give it some time. You'll be a pro before you know it. You'll be able to navigate through TradingView like it was nothing. If you guys have any questions about TradingView or about our strategy, please feel free to reach out. I'm in the Discord every day, Monday through Friday. I trade from 7 to 10 a.m. This is my go-to layout. As you guys can see over on the left-hand side, this is my Foursquare layout. I love it, and this is the same exact indicators that I use. Now, we do have other indicators. If you prefer to do, have a different type of approach, you can do that. I like to trade confirmation, so typically I'm looking at this 1 minute chart, and I'm trying to assess immediately, okay, is this confirmation? It's got recent bags, this one, IVP. It's a micro float, so that's a warning, right? These are warnings here. And its major resistance was $3.70, and recent high was $3.11. So even though we're over here at 177, we start popping with some volume. I just know I need to be careful because this is a recent bags. This will not be confirmation strategy. This will be outside of that. This would be more like a bounce watch type of thing. I would scalp this or trade a lotto. So that's the notes that you'll see if you have those notes turned on. So if you have the notes turned on, you'll see that they'll let you know lotto size or void, right? So if I'm trading this, I'm expecting choppy price action. I don't need to have this on there. I'm very aware of my strategy, but if you guys need that on there, that's why we built it into the code. And then you've got the 1 minute bullish pivot pro, which makes it even easier. You don't need to make, you don't really need to assess as much as I like to do. Some traders just like to be able to just pull it up and start trading. Well, this is going to be our line of indicators that will allow you to do that. So pull it up, close above, great, clear indication, get in here, get out here if it goes against you, and you're taking profit if you start to see any of these levels above being hit, or if you start to see it failing this flow zone here, like it did here. So you can hold on to it or whatever you prefer. But guys, that's it. And make sure to save your layout. Come up to the top and rename. Let's rename it. Let's just rename it. Let's name it Foursquare V2. So this is my version 2 of it. So I hit save, and there you go. It's saved now. So you should be able to load that up at any time that you want. So guys, that's it. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. This is my Foursquare layout. I use it every single day when trading live, Monday through Friday. If you want to join in on that, check out our website, bullishboblive.com. And we've got some great deals going on for 4th of July. But if you're watching this next week or whatever it may be, then we run deals typically when it comes to holidays. So guys, thank you for your time. I appreciate your help today, and I'll see you in the pre-market session on Monday.